Welcome to the Back Row Fantasy Show with your hosts, Jeremy Barker, Aaron Arms, and Chad Niddle.
We're going to argue this morning, and welcome to another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show, where I like to scream at the top of my lungs, but I got arms to my left.
Good morning.
And knit to my right.
Sorta.
It's not.
We flip flop the studio, and you just keep opening that way because no one can tell.
It's kind of a lie. Arms is kind of to my right, but we do live in Appalachia, so I've got arms to my left and knit to my right.
You actually have arms on both sides of you.
I do.
You did that. Been saving that one for a while.
I guess that's kind of true, but let's start it off right. Patrick Mahomes is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
If he retired at the end of this year, I had a vote. If he continued this pace, I'm voting for him.
It was it would be a famous year.
Yeah.
He's on pace to throw 80 touchdowns.
He is.
So I would vote for him also. If you threw 80 touchdowns in a season, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Pretty much.
Is he threw 8 touchdowns or 10 touchdowns?
10.
Yeah, 80 touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 games.
Good pace.
10 touchdowns.
I think he's good at football. Hot take.
Very possible. It's very possible that he knows what he's doing.
You know, I was looking at him in DFS, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe the angry Steelers defense is going to bounce back this week.
Angry Steelers defense.
I'm going to go with Jimmy Garoppolo.
They're so bad.
And that decision alone cost me money.
Well, here we go. Since you mentioned the angry Steelers defense, we're going to have the Angry Niddle show today.
The angry Steelers defensive coordinator? Because that's all they're going to have. Okay, good.
Antonio Brown is ridiculous. Diva. Somebody posts on Twitter about Big Ben being his source of receptions and like making him look better than he is, which I completely disagree with. Man, Antonio Brown can go to any team.
It doesn't hurt to have a potential Hall of Fame quarterback.
Never hurts. I don't know why you would want to argue that. Like, why would you?
It's not.
Why would you want to be with T.J. Yates?
It's not like he had Dante Culpepper throwing him the ball, you know?
No. But anyways, somebody on Twitter says that, and he responds, "Trade me and let's find out if I'm that good." Like, come on.
I get where you're going with this.
Yes, it's called getting your blood boiling.
A superstar has no business responding to. Would you call it
Thank you.
a former Steelers executive, right?
Not executive. It was like a former Steelers
admin,
media manager. Like,
yeah.
You know, like a little marketing feller. Like, let's put Antonio Brown on the side of our Starbucks cup this week. You know, just someone like that.
Okay,
like someone like us.
Well, here's what the Steelers can continue to do: is
suck.
Yeah. Completely separate the team, the superstars, from everyone else, and they can continue to tie the Browns and lose to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
As of right now, they are tied for Browns in the division.
They are, but the facts also remain. They lost to the Chiefs 42-37.
Couldn't stop them.
You know, the 1972 Miami Dolphins might have lost to Pat Mahomes. It probably would have happened. Mahomes probably would have tore him up. And they lost to they tied the Browns. I mean, the Steelers, the problem's the defense. I mean, Lev Bell would have helped. I will give Nit that all day. If they had Lev Bell, they probably would have won one of these 2 games. I think that's feasible.
No. They're 2-0 with Lev Bell. You're the margin of separation is 5 points on their season.
I've given them 1. You're meeting in the middle with you.
You're telling me Lev Bell, their margin of defeat over 2 games / a tie is 5 points.
5 points.
Lev Bell 100% helps us. Defensive coordinators game plan for Lev Bell. They don't game plan for James Conner. They go, let's shut down AB. So yeah, AB's frustrated. You know why? Because he has no Lev Bell. Because
AB needs to realize it's 2 games.
No. AB can be as frustrated as he wants, but he has to realize the source of his frustration, and it's Lev Bell. It's the Steelers' front office not paying Lev Bell. Now you're getting double coverage all game long.
Let me ask you a question though. How many catches does Antonio Brown normally have a game?
12?
7 to 12, yeah.
Okay, he caught 9. Right dead,
Yeah,
right
well,
dead center of that. I
Antonio
mean,
Brown-
You did watch the game where they were down like the entire game, right?
but what is he doing with the ball?
He's doing his job.
I mean, he's getting his production.
No.
Really, what more does he want?
No, he's
He's
not
doing-
getting his production. He's getting 9 catches. How many yards?
67.
He getting the end zone?
Was the ball in his hands?
No, but
9
he's
times?
got
Okay.
a guy named
All right,
Juju
then he's not-
Smith-Schuster that's a
He was-
superstar, a budding superstar on the other side
thank
of him.
you. Thanks for making that. So
He was targeted 17 times.
yeah,
I mean, he's got Big Ben throwing in the ball, which is
There's
a
no
good
problem with the
quarterback.
Steelers offense.
with two
It's the defense.
Oh God, it's Lev Bell helps you control clock. He helps AB get open in the end zone. In the end, thanks for making my point. By the way, Arms, 9 catches. That's great. No touchdowns.
Do you think
AB?
that
Hold up.
So
AB
you think they're
scores.
just running him underneath routes all of a sudden because Le'Veon Bell's not there?
No. It's when they enter the red zone, Arms. There's an all-pro threat at running back, okay? That you have. Oh, wait, no, they haven't had him. It's been James Conner, and no one cares about James Conner. He can get his yardage.
I like
blah, blah.
James.
Okay, that's great, but the fact of the matter is, you only have to defend AB in this office.
How much more production would Lev Bell have put up in Game 1? I don't want to talk about Game 2 because Lev Bell probably would have helped them win Game 2, the Chiefs. But how much more would Lev have done over Connor in Game 1?
Barker, that's
It's possible
No.
Connor could have a better game than Lev.
Get out of the fantasy
Possible.
world, Barker.
No, I'm not
Arms,
talking
get
fantasy
out of
world.
the no, you are. You said how much more production would he have given you? It's not about production, it's about the team. It's about other teams having to game plan and scheme to stop Lev Bell. That makes your other parts better. Like
it's
AB,
possible that
it's
scheming would have worked.
100%.
It's possible that scheming would have worked over, James Conner, we don't have to play in for
Barker-
him. Oh, crap, Connor tore us up in Game 1.
Stop saying possible. That it's possible.
It's all possibilities.
Lev Bell beats the Browns
That's a possibility. It's
single-handedly.
debatable.
All right, it's 100% sure.
No, I can-
Nothing is.
You add Lev Bell to the Steelers, they're a better team than the Browns. That is not like you're reacting like that's insane. But just to make your point, you're telling me the Browns are good enough to play with the Steelers with Lev Bell.
No, we're assuming that Lev Bell wouldn't start the season crappy like he did last year. Last year he wasn't that good in the first few games. It took him a little bit to get going. Now we're assuming he's just going to come in world beaten every game.
But why?
It's like saying Michael Crabtree would have, if the Raiders would have kept him, they'd have beat the Broncos.
Slow down. Why was Lev Bell a slow starter last year? Oh, because the Browns or the Steelers didn't pay him going into the season. He held out the whole.
I wouldn't pay him either then if he wants to lay down on me. All right, Vontae Davis, enjoy your retirement.
God, you guys do not understand business contracts. Like, if you pay that guy,
They're making plenty of money.
If they pay that guy at the end of his rookie contract, the rookie, all that, he is there from day one, and you're only holding out for a contract.
They did actually offer him as much money as he asked for last year.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying I've seen guys that didn't get their money yet that still went out there and earned it. They didn't just lay down.
No, you don't see that.
No, that's why the whole
He's
conversation
not
started.
laying down.
Divas. Lev, Antonio, divas.
Superstars, also another apparently the same thing
Divas.
in your book. Divas
Not really.
and-
Des Bryant is a diva, and I would argue he's not a superstar.
The Steelers have enough talent to not worry about headaches.
Whoa. I think you just were wanting to say the Steelers have enough talent to overcome, and they don't.
Not overcome.
They don't. Apparently,
Not
they
overcome.
don't. Whatever adjective, whatever verb you're going to use there, they don't, because
They're-
they do not have enough to beat the Browns.
Their
They do not
championship
have
window is
enough.
closing.
They don't have enough to beat the Steelers at home.
I will tell you,
And it's because they don't take care of their good players.
they are the Steelers. They don't have enough to beat the Chiefs. Is what you're
Mike
saying?
Wallace is left. Emmanuel Sanders. This is the way the Steelers play the
It
game.
is.
Good.
They've
Ship 'em
continuously let people go. That I was shocked.
Not their superstars. Emmanuel
Yeah,
Sanders.
yeah. They had. I'm not. They listen.
Now you're comparing Emmanuel Sanders to
no-
Antonio Brown. No, that's what you
No,
did. But go ahead.
Hey, I let you bitch. Let me bitch. All right. Or let me talk. So they don't pay Plexico Burris. They don't pay Emmanuel Sanders. Heck, they never really paid Hines Ward. So whenever AB got up,
yeah, they did.
Well, I don't think they paid him like a true, top flight receiver. Regardless, doesn't matter. When AB came up time, I'm like, man, they're just going to let him walk. They paid him. They paid him, and I was shocked. That's kind of out of the realm of what they do for skill position players. Never really did it. They focus their talent and their money on defense and quarterback. It's really all they ever focus their money on. They had a 50-year-old Jerome Bettis for years, it seemed like. Okay, then Le'Veon Bell comes in.
Because they paid him. They paid Jerome Bettis to stay.
Jerome Bettis was no. They
Le'Veon Bell's a way better running back than
there's
Jerome
no
Bettis.
doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. But then Le'Veon Bell comes in and he's like, all right, I want the highest contract ever for a running back.
Okay, here you go.
And then the argument's like, okay, you know what? We don't want to pay you that this year. So he holds out. Then he comes in, plays on the highest overall annual contract for a running back, the franchise tag, right? So then what? Then they say, you know what? You did it. Here's everything you asked for last year. Nah, bro, not good enough.
I'll add one thing, and we can move on.
And
and this is not just to get you riled up, Nick. This is just a statement about the Steelers. Their defense isn't as good.
That's terrible. I agree with that.
It's not good. Antonio Brown is still in the prime of their career, but maybe they view Juju and James Washington as part of their fresh start.
Shouldn't have
Ben
paid him.
Roethlisberger's probably not going to play. I don't think he's going to play next year. I think the Steelers it might be as simple as the Steelers looking toward the future a little too early.
Or all three things you said equal pay a superstar running back. You got a bad defense. Let's pay a running back who can help us control the ball.
He can't play defense.
You're going to let your superstar go.
He's saying he's going to keep the.
No, I know.
the other
I
team
know what
getting
he's
the
saying,
ball.
but I'm not going to pay a running
Time
back
of
because
possession.
my defense sucks.
Time of possession's a real thing.
Oh, it is. But
The offense, the other team's offense cannot score if you have the football. I mean, it's a real thing. All right, so all three things: a bad defense, get a ball control running back, aging quarterback. You're really going to need a superstar running back to help you move the ball. And if you're planning on moving your star receiver, guess what makes the receiving core better? A rock solid Hall of Fame caliber running back.
The Steelers
have made a monstrous mistake, and here's what I'll end with: they're sacrificing their Super Bowl window to not pay Le'Veon Bell.
LaShawn McCoy is a Hall of Fame worthy running back, and the team around him sucks, and he can't do it by himself.
The Steelers one time possession in the last game by 5 minutes.
End with that.
We cannot.
Running back
No.
Running
We
back
cannot
isn't
end.
the end all.
No.
It just isn't.
It is when it's Le'Veon Bell.
Not in 2018.
But it doesn't matter if Le'Veon Bell's on this team. The Chiefs were just flinging it all over the field. Le'Veon Bell's not stopping that. 6 touchdowns had nothing to do with Le'Veon Bell.
They lost by 5.
The Steelers one time possession by 5 minutes.
How many rushing yards did James Conner have again?
17.
Le'Veon Bell wouldn't have helped at all. No. You said it. Le'Veon Bell would not have helped at all.
Time of possession. You just said that's the difference maker. 5 minutes is a big difference.
Who had the ball?
The Steelers had the ball for 5 more minutes.
Patrick Mahomes could score from anywhere on the field.
That's
all
my
right.
point. My point
I
is
got you.
they still threw for 6
So
touchdowns.
you're saying the Steelers controlled the clock more than the Chiefs
by
did,
5
but it
minutes.
didn't matter?
By 5 minutes.
What a good way to open the show.
Awesome sample size there. Thank you.
But you're going off of a 2 game saying James Conner sucks and can't do it.
I did not say that. I'm saying Le'Veon Bell should be paid, and James Conner strikes no fear in the heart of defensive coordinators. You're never going to game plan for him. You can shut down AB.
I feel like
you're an 0-1-1 team without him.
I feel like the game plan for him this week, because that's the reason they focused on him not getting the ball for 135 yards.
That even helps my argument more. So if you do game plan for him, then he puts
Juju
up a
8,
17-yard stinker.
The road dog Jesse James 8. You know what?
Because they were down.
AB
I mean, you
had
could argue-
nine receptions for 67 yards. I mean, there was plenty of statistics to go around.
You guys are unbelievable.
Because their defense is not that good.
You are unbelievable.
Listen,
If Lev Bell could play linebacker, go ahead. I mean, go ahead and pay the man. Get him in there at linebacker.
Listen, I think
Super Bowl contender with him, and you're 0-1-1 without him.
They're
I
not
mean,
a-
that is drastic.
No.
That is drastic. But go ahead. drastic.
All right, we'll move on. We'll
You
get
know,
ourselves
they
back
lost
into-
more.
No.
You know they lost more than 2 games last year, right?
No.
With
I
Le'Veon Bell,
you're-
you know they lost more than 2 games.
I'm gonna, deep down. I
Just
know
wanna clarify.
you guys know you're wrong, and you're just arguing to argue. But it's they're 0-1. You tied the Browns. You're winless.
So for the sake of what you're saying, so if Lev Bell were traded to the Jets today, are they Super Bowl contender?
They're not Super Bowl contenders. They're a
playoff
much
team?
They're yeah.
No,
You can say that. Better defense.
I'm not saying it.
You
You
can say that.
can say that.
The Bills made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, because the AFC was weak.
Can we talk about?
Okay, where did the Jets play, Barker, in the AFC? Oh,
Not
my
as weak
Lord.
this year. It is not as weak
Just-
this year. You got Andrew Luck that's back.
Oh.
The Chiefs look good. The Chargers look good.
Was there an influx
The
of
Ravens
talent
are better.
that I
The
missed?
Bengals are better. There's so many teams that are better.
Patrick
that-
Mahomes
like-
decided to play football this year.
They made the Chiefs
I
made
know.
the playoffs
You just said
last
they're an
year.
influx of
I know.
talent
I'm
there.
just saying they're better. There's better teams. The Bengals are better this year. There's
They're
just
2
better
years
teams.
removed from the play. I mean,
Freaking
they're
Dolphins are 2-0 for God's sakes. Are they a Super Bowl contender with Lev Bell?
I don't know if the Dolphins make playoffs. Let back.
now you're misconstruing my words.
No,
you're,
I'm
you're
just
saying
adding-
I never said put Lev Bell on any team. They're super.
I'm just
they're-
adding my argument.
Clear, you have no argument though. You don't have an
We
argument.
both do.
No,
We
you
both
don't.
have one.
What's your argument?
That
Are teams better with Lev Bell? Or they're not better with Lev Bell? Because you're both wrong again.
I didn't say that.
No, then where is this Super Bowl talk coming from, Barker? Why are you throwing that at me?
because you said they're a Super Bowl contender with Lev Bell.
The Steelers, not the friggin' Jets or the Miami Dolphins. You guys are being
The
ridiculous.
Steelers' defense is on par with some of those defenses. So
Okay,
I mean,
so you're
basically,
telling
and you
me-
said Ben can't get it done by himself. Ben's not good enough to get him there alone, just like Tannehill, just like Flacco, just like Dalton. Like they need that superstar running back to get it done.
The Steelers
I'm just saying
have
it's not that
literally
simple.
been. The Steelers have unquestionably been a Super Bowl contender for the
Have
last
been.
3 years.
Windows closing.
Right. So pay the dude to get you there.
He's part of the window. What are we?
Need
Oh,
Charger.
Good way to start.
They're gonna be so bad all year long.
All right, so
James Conner's gonna put up monstrous points, though. I'll give you that.
he is.
I have him on.
He's not the same running back. I'm not trying to say that he is.
Not even in the ballpark.
I'm saying that the Steelers know their window's closing, and maybe they're hesitant to just throw money at a running back in a passing league.
I can guarantee they don't do that, but that's okay.
Dolphins did start 2-0, not a Super Bowl contender, probably not a playoff team. There's a stat, I think it's 63% of 2-0 teams make the playoffs. Watch the Dolphins debunk that. That's probably what they'll do.
Well, they are
62%?
they are the 38%.
yeah.
They are the 38%.
Yeah. Offense is anemic. I'm not really sure how they've won both of their games, but I'll take it as a Dolphins fan. But fantasy purposes, I'm not sure there's anyone on this team now that you're excited about starting on offense. I was not excited to start Kenyon Drake this week. Like, I like Kenyon Drake, but it seems like every running back in the league, and I'll say this for you, not named a Lev Bell, not named a Todd Gurley, is getting like 10 carries.
Yes.
Like
which
every
is
running back's getting
ridiculous.
10 carries.
It's like, oh, you know what? 79 yards led the league or the NFC in rushing this week. You're like, what? I don't know if that's accurate, but that's the numbers you're expecting.
Yeah. Nick, who's the league rushing leader right now?
It's Matt Breida.
What? Like,
With-
and I think he's gotten 10 carries a game.
Like with legitimate, how many yards?
It's just under 200.
Yeah.
Through 2 games.
It won't last. I
I
know
know, but
that.
you expect somebody to, I don't know.
Have
make-
250 yards over the
yes.
first 2 games.
At
Somebody.
least-
Have a big game, little game. or
Yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, 225 yards and 75 yards, or 160 yards and 70 yards. 200, not even 200 yards. Come on, people. It was nice to see Albert Wilson get 5 targets this game. I like to see
Yeah, it is.
like to
But
see him get a little bit of attention.
the rotation with those guys, like Jakeem Grant, Amendola, and Albert Wilson, they rotate them. And it's like the only guy they don't rotate is Stills, who's a deep threat on a team with a quarterback that don't throw a great deep ball.
And they've got Parker coming back, it looks like. I don't know if he'll be back this week or not.
Watch him get traded.
I actually read something.
He was
about
a
that.
healthy scratch. He was a healthy scratch last week, and it's because they like who they've got on the field better because Devontae Parker can't separate. Wouldn't be surprised to see him traded
You know
within
why?
the next week or two.
Wide receivers are expendable.
So you're saying don't pay
Absolutely
Antonio
are.
Brown?
I said that. I didn't argue that. But anyway.
Jets didn't have anything great offensively.
Kiko, though, racking up 13 solo tackles.
Yeah, Raekwon McMillan's not exactly getting it done, so Kiko's stepping in for him and getting it done. So big props to Kiko in IDP leagues.
Darnold drops down. Is that kind of I think this was a lower game, maybe not his lowest point yet
I
this
think
year.
we average it.
I think we expected it too.
The 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. I think he's a guy who could go 50-50 on that touchdown to interception ratio. I think he's more of a 2 touchdown a game quarterback with
I
a
agree.
good wide receiving
This
core.
year.
This
But
year.
it definitely looks like he could be more, for years to come.
330 yards is a lot of yards.
I appreciate you guys, by the way,
Nothing to F with.
bashing on me for saying play Terrell Pryor if you need a receiver.
I wouldn't go crazy here, Arms.
Hey, 8 targets, 84 yards, 4 receptions. I mean, that's enough to put up wide receiver 3 numbers.
It was a good game for him.
So, I mean, I'm more than happy to
It was like MG Kelly's diss song. It was good for him.
MG Kelly. Who?
Whatever his name is.
Machine Gun
Machine
Kelly.
Gun Kelly.
That's how
MGK.
that's how relevant he is. Whatever his name is, it was good for him.
Yeah, I agree. This is talk about the low point. This is Terrell Pryor's high point of the season. I do believe.
Me and you were impressed by MGK until Eminem released
Yeah,
his diss
yes.
rap. Now I'm like, oh, wait a second. That guy does kind of suck. Darius Leonard.
Thanks for pointing all this out.
How about Darius Leonard racking up 30 points in our league format last
Christ.
week as a linebacker?
Darius Leonard just 8-8. Now that to me that is just the product of being hands down the most talented guy on one side of the ball, and it's not close. I mean, we said that all off season. Somebody is going to step up and absolutely blow it up for the Colts defense. Now maybe not make the Colts defense relevant itself, but put up some ridiculous fantasy production from an IDP standpoint. And that guy's Darius Leonard. He's the most talented guy in the front 7, no doubt about it.
Oh, hands down.
He's probably the most talented guy on the whole team.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to say in
And
the
listen,
front
probably.
7.
We don't like to toot our own horn, but all 3 of us have been Darius Leonard truthers this offseason. I mean, it just made sense. They drafted a guy that was better than all the other guys they had.
Yeah.
So, what? I mean,
It's like, well, does he pay weak side, strong side, or middle? It doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter.
He's the best linebacker on the field.
doesn't matter.
He's just going to get to the football more consistent than the other guys.
Yes.
Sometimes it's as simple as that. You add in the fact that offense is going to be inconsistent with Andrew Luck getting back to it and trying to figure out the running back situation. Frankly, trying to figure out the wide receiving core,
No.
even with Ty. So that offense is going to be inconsistent, and Darius Leonard's going to just eat.
Absolutely.
And eat.
And as much as we like to say what we've tried to push you towards in the offseason, we'll also tell you when we're wrong. The Buccaneers really are good.
Talk about the offense.
We're talking about who the fuck is Jameis Winston? I'm right. I'm Fitzmagic.
Dude, that was the funniest thing.
It was great.
Did he say you just got to be humble with his
I think so.
like
Like,
2000
and you know whose stuff that was,
That was-
right?
Yeah, it's
Deshaun Jackson.
Like only a real leader would come out in their smallest wide receivers get up for the press
Dude,
conference.
I was rolling. He's like, any of the stuff yours? Yeah, the chest hair. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's great.
He is. This is smart. This is like Miley Cyrus and Kiss and Marilyn Manson putting on a show. That way, people want you as your starting quarterback. I mean, he's already did it on the field. He doesn't have to become a personality, but he's like, you know what, Jay Cutler, I can one up you.
Here's something else I will say. It's hilarious the historically great season Ryan Fitzpatrick is having. Is
More fantasy points than Mahomes right
is
now.
being overshadowed by the fact that Mahomes is like, oh yeah, I'm basically a first year quarterback, just doing just as good. It's not that big of a deal. What do you mean? We're not playing in Texas Tech? No, we're not.
kind of looks a lot like it.
Yeah, I mean,
My receivers get open like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Harvard boys coming out and saying, like, us 35-year-old quarterbacks can do this too. And he's flinging it all over the yard.
honestly, this is what Ryan Fitzpatrick does. It always seems like he put up stats, and then they're like, we're going to draft another quarterback.
Well, it's another Bills situation. Like, he
I was
played
about
for
to
the
say-
Bills, and that just hurts your career when you play for the Bills.
He's never been on a good team. Well,
No.
Bills, Jets, a little
Bengals,
Bengals.
yeah.
Bad Bengals, too. Like,
But
I mean, I'm not
didn't
saying
start
he's
for the Bengals, did he?
not saying he's always. Well, we're not going to overreact here and say
No.
that he's going to stay on this trajectory.
No.
But I mean, maybe he. Well, it's not a maybe. He's just always been on a bad team.
But I
typically.
mean, can you even
But-
consider putting Winston back
I
on the
wouldn't.
field?
I absolutely
Me neither.
wouldn't.
Let's
Let him play
look
out
at this
of it.
team last year, though. This is a bad team.
What, the Bucks?
The
with,
Bucks.
No.
with Jameis Winston.
I'm
That's a
saying last
good
year
wide
they weren't
receiving
good.
core.
No, they weren't good last year. But
And-
I mean, you've got the development of Godwin. You've got. I'm not saying
You're
Peyton
miss-
Barber's that good, but I mean, there is slight improvements that
You're
that
missing
could
what I'm
be-
saying is they're doing great now, and last year they sucked.
Oh,
Okay?
I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
you're saying it's
Yeah, like-
a lot of it has to do with the quarterback play.
I don't know what it is, but they don't have a running game.
No.
It's certainly not the running game. Maybe it's Deshaun Jackson dipping into the fountain of youth. I don't know exactly what it is, but Ryan
He's
Fitzpatrick
looked
is
good.
right now the biggest difference on this team, and it's insane.
It's kind of the perfect combination of a wide receiving core with Deshaun over the top, Mike Evans anywhere, Chris Godwin kind of in and around the underneath.
and OJ Howard eating in the middle.
Good, yeah, very good tight ends.
Not Cameron Brate, which is they paid
I mean,
that man.
semi
and-
surprising.
That's to me. You just paid the guy, and you don't even target him. Was he? Did he play? Was he hurt?
Tight end. I mean, tight ends block. You know,
But
I
do you
mean,
pay the man to block?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. Steelers paid Marquise Pouncey. God, I'm so salty. I keep
Would you
going
shut up
there.
about it?
They paid him.
They paid him
You
$44
do-
million dollars.
Speaking of
every,
superstars.
8 years.
No, I'll be serious. You don't pay Cameron Brate just to block. I mean, he got a good contract extension.
He did.
You would think he would be a little more involved in a passing game that averages 410 yards a game. That's a ton of yardage.
I think they would at least glance his direction. No.
Yeah. Nah.
We've got Carson Wentz coming back for week 3. The Foles experiment's over.
Well, it wasn't an experiment. We've said before, we're not sure that he's a great quarterback, just a product of a really good system.
Yeah.
And-
He actually looked pretty decent in
was
this
hot.
game. But
Yeah.
I mean, I still wouldn't even consider pulling a Fitzmagic and leaving him in. No way.
This is perfect for Wentz, though. I mean, Wentz is. I don't know if Wentz wasn't a little nervous with the run that Nick Foles had through the playoffs, Super Bowl MVPs. Like, uh-oh.
No, I don't think he was.
I don't think so either, but I'm just saying, like, Foles came
If
back
he
down
would have
there.
been.
Now it's easier for
Validated.
the Eagles to go. It's Wentz time.
And if
Here's
you guys follow us on Twitter, one thing, guys, Corey Clement. I complained about it whenever they said, "Hey, we're going to give the ball to Darren Sproles for all of Corey Clement's touches." And now, then Darren Sproles goes out, and Corey Clement, best running back on the team, no doubt about it.
Best all-purpose running back.
They're-
I would rather have him in any situation except for the goal line.
Oh, if I'm the team, yeah, I'm going to give Corey Clement more carries than Ajayi. That's me. But
I wouldn't roll the season with Corey Clement over Ajayi. I'll be out of that. I would rather have Ajayi as a true running back. I'm a true running back guy, though. I get what you're saying. He's the most talented or highest spark score, most dynamic. I do like
he's
a
better
dynamic running back.
PPR. In a PPR league, he will put up more points for the rest of the year than Jay Ajayi.
I don't know that that's necessarily true either, but I really like. I've always liked Ajayi. He's not the most fantastic, flashy guy, but he gets the job done. He runs hard. That's what I like out of a running back.
here's a
Gotta run hard.
question. Right now, the 3 top wideouts for the Buccaneers are startable. Does that stay the same? Can we continue to start Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans? Obviously, we know Evans is a yes, but all right, do you feel comfortable rolling out the other 2 if you have them in your leagues?
I put Godwin in as a flyer when I need a 3.
Yeah,
I can't be comfortable having a third guy catch 100 yards worth of passes.
In Deshaun, you have to play, but you're going to have to deal with the duds because he's going to have a game where he doesn't go for a 75-yard catch, a 50-yard catch. He just has 3 catches for 35 yards, something like that. So Deshaun's going to throw in those. He's proven that throughout his career. He's going to throw you sub-10-point games, and it's usually against a good secondary, but not totally predictable. I mean, the guy does have, like you said, he dipped into the fountain of youth or something.
Now, let's also clarify something here with Ryan Fitzmagic. 150 of his yards were literally on 2 passes.
2 throws.
Like two throws, 150 yards.
Still had 250 outside of that,
No,
but I'm with you.
But we also have to understand that these are broken down plays. Like, a safety misses his assignment, and it's a touchdown. You can't predict that. I mean, scale back your expectations a little bit. Let's not expect 400 yards every week. Let's not expect 4 touchdowns every week. I could see it being an average of 2.5 and 300 yards. 2.5 touchdowns, 300 yards going forward. That's where my expectation is, as long as Fitzpatrick's the quarterback and the receivers remain healthy.
Startable, though.
Absolutely.
Because he's a threat for 3 touchdowns every week, I think, in that offense.
Zach Ertz came back in this game. A little something we kind of figured would happen. Ertz isn't going to stay down for long. Just like Travis Kelce, big comeback for the Chiefs. Sorry, Arms, that you played Kittle over him. But
don't get cute, guys. Just play your studs.
Don't get cute.
It didn't matter in either league.
Yeah, which, I mean, Kittle's not a bad play, so that. But still, if you've got your studs, start them. The Browns Saints game, that was another nail biter. The Browns did not win, but Michael Thomas still got his. Kamara still got his.
Before we go,
Landry didn't quite do what we thought he would do.
No, good. I was just going to say, a real nice game out of Quan Alexander for on the IDP standpoint for Tampa
Buccaneers
Bay.
have good linebackers.
They
have
David
good linebackers.
Quan 8. We said Jordan Hicks is going to have a decent game for the Eagles, and he ate. So
he did, and I think that's another reason, real quickly, that the Bucs are in good shape. Not just Fitzmagic, but those linebackers. It's a pretty good core.
Absolutely.
But the Browns,
great core. It's kind of the opposite of Leonard, where.
Yeah.
You've
got more than
like,
just Quan and more than just Levante, and they've got other guys that are situational that can come in and rotate, and they're pretty decent. So the Buccaneers literally could be a team to watch out for the whole season. But the Browns, the Saints, what's that saying you like to say all the time, Arms?
Browns going to Brown, baby.
Browns going to Brown.
So sad. Man, I'm rooting for them this year. I want them to get a win.
You just want to be in Cleveland for free Bud Light. Man, that beer is just getting staler and staler and staler.
I thought they were going to do it. I thought they have a chance to be 2-0.
They do.
But the Browns are going to Browns.
So hold on a second. I'm just going to throw it out here.
Oh, God, here we go.
If Le'Veon Bell's in the Browns,
I knew it.
That means by as close as it was, they're a 2-0 team.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it.
They're 2-0. Does that make them playoff caliber?
Yes,
okay.
It does. The Browns aren't that bad.
Okay.
The Browns are really not that bad.
But also
they're not.
We talked about. I mean, they're not a playoff caliber team right now, but they're not that bad. I mean, they're going to win like 5 games. This
now
year.
let's just kind of roll it back a little bit. If the Browns are decent, and the Steelers lost to a good solid Chiefs team, and the Browns have now lost to the Saints, which were playing in the AFC. NFC.
A better team. The Saints are a better team than the
they
Chiefs.
lost one round before the championship. So that's a good Saints team that they lost to as well.
Yeah.
Now without Ingram, but I don't think they necessarily need Ingram to get their production. But I mean, the Browns they've lost to 2 good teams.
If you put
they are
Le'Veon
borderline,
Bell,
playoff quality if they had a Le'Veon Bell.
Y'all keep bagging, yeah.
Let's talk. We were kind of high on the Redskins. And they did look pretty good. And then the Colts. We're talking about a good Colts team apparently. The defense isn't even that good, but somehow they are competing or winning games. And is it just Andrew Luck? They don't have a good running back. Mm-hmm. Their wide receiver core is not that impressive. Their defense is not that impressive. How in the world are they getting this done?
How in the world do you pick who gets the football for the Colts? I don't want any of them at this point for running back purposes. Receivers, the only one I'll play is Ty, and that's with my back against the wall.
Yeah, I don't. Ty is going to be a little more consistent. And all, I'm not a big Ty fan, but to go back just to the general question, how the Colts getting it done, maybe the Redskins are just not that great. I mean, Alex Smith had another one of his dink and dunk games where he doesn't even average 10 yards per completion. And that's low. I mean, you throw in a couple 15, 20-yard passes, and that should drag it up. But he was just dinking and dunking all game long. Chris Thompson had 13 receptions.
Didn't break a hundo.
Is that a dink and dunk court? It was just one of those sad Alex Smith games. Now, we've all said he's a winner. He's an ultra efficient. But when your running backs get 16 receptions, your tight ends chip in another 8 or so, that's the majority. That's 2/3 of your offense. You're not going to win. You're not going to sustain drives. You're not going to win a whole lot of games. So I think to answer your question about the Colts, you have to look at the Redskins. Redskins just were not a threat to score in this game. They never did anything. Therefore, the Colts won by default in my book.
Yes, and
Right.
yes. I mean,
Yeah, no argument.
the Colts didn't wow you, and the Redskins' defensive players didn't make any plays.
Yeah.
There were tackles, but there were just, I mean, a couple interceptions, but what are you doing with it? You get 9 total points out of it? The Redskins aren't moving the ball.
Hey, the Bills actually put points on the board this weekend. 20 of them. What fantasy superstardom for this team? 20 points?
I mean, whenever you upgrade from a quarterback that gets you like
5 interceptions.
like 4
Down
points
to 2.
4 points into the third quarter, I think it was, and you only have a guy throwing 2 interceptions for the entire game. I'll still pass on every single player. On
The
that team.
standard's been set. I mean, they basically said, Josh Allen, you've got 2 picks a game. Don't go over it, and we'll be all right. We'll be able to only lose by 11 from here on out.
We'll cover some spreads, not all of them,
Correct.
but we'll cover a few of them.
Right. Mike Williams is looking. Is he going to get better as the season goes on? Is this the breakout for Mike Williams?
So I'll give you a quick analysis on Big Mike Williams. He caught the first TD of the game, meaning he was involved early, and then he was actually completely irrelevant the rest of the game. So the good with that is he's involved early. The bad with that is it's not consistent throughout the game. And I think the Chargers did kind of enter a shutdown mode, but you don't necessarily if anything, when the Chargers shut down, they should have Mike Williams still on the field, getting experience, getting reps, etc. So still a little shaky. However, he did say in the post game that route he caught the touchdown on was specifically designed for him. He was the one. He was the one read on that, and that's another one of the good things. But again, he had 2 targets.
Thankfully for Melvin Gordon owners, he had 3 touchdowns, 2 of them receiving, or else wouldn't have been good. He only got 9 carries in this game. In what was a ball control closeout game, he got 9 carries. Kind of peculiar.
That was the shutdown mode.
Yeah, but why are you?
Yeah.
Why do you have your superstar out there when you have a competent backup in Eckler?
That's a good point.
I mean, why
7 yards a carry.
He's.
Todd Gurley sure gets. Rams don't.
I understand that, but they're going to regret that when they're up 30.
They are.
When
They
they're
really
up
are.
30 and Gurley tears his ACL.
Or just wears down a little bit.
Yeah, and you have that kind of people are like, why was he in the game? Why was he in the game? You loved it for fantasy purposes
Yeah.
whenever he's
Oh, yeah.
breaking them off in the fourth quarter. This is why Austin Eckler's on the team and putting up the numbers he is.
Thank you.
Austin Eckler,
Good game for
to
him
me,
too.
he's a great flex play for as far out as I can see. I mean, he catches the ball. They're giving him enough carries to make him relevant. You can play Austin Eckler as a flex. I don't want to start him, but if I absolutely had to, let's say I had a Devonta Freeman or a Joe Mixon, I'm looking for Eckler for cheap.
Yeah. I'm not going to completely argue. A lot of his yardage, though, was just based on garbage time and early garbage time. Really, I mean, they had it in shutdown mode in the second quarter. So,
And
defensively, man, kind of an all-around game. You had Derwin James with his breakout, possibly the sack, 7 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's a leader. That dude's a good football player. We already knew that. but-
athlete.
Yeah, just everything we thought he was going to be at this point.
He is who we thought he was.
Yeah, exactly. And then Perryman, filling up the gaps in the middle, kicking over to the Bills. Poyer doing Poyer things, and Edmonds. I'd like to see a little. He looks,
game.
yeah, he looks solid. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Edmonds. I mean, you're a more athletic linebacker than a Preston Brown
He'll
was.
come around.
Yeah, but get up to 10 tackles a game, man. Come on.
Nothing wrong with 7 on what was not a huge run game for the Chargers. I mean, if Melvin Gordon would have
Early
had
on.
20-some carries, we'd probably be talking about Edmonds pushing double-digit tackles. But
you want to see Edmonds a little more involved. Give me a pass defense, if not intercept. Maybe give me.
You're as fast
chip in
as every
somewhere.
receiver on every team, basically.
He's super athletic.
Like what?
I'll tell you one thing: if he was
Give me
facing
one
Lev
swat.
Bell, he'd have got
Totally-
those 10 tackles.
No doubt.
Yeah. Totally playable though.
Yeah,
In
oh,
all
absolutely.
I mean, he's not a linebacker 1, but he's a rock solid linebacker 2 in IDP for IDP purposes.
Absolutely is. Vikings Packers. We had another tie. Aaron Rodgers gutted it out, and Kirk Cousins. I don't think we're worried about Kirk Cousins switching teams anymore.
Does everyone root for ties now? Like I do. I weirdly root
I do.
for it.
I
Like,
definitely
Dude, I was
do.
rooting for a tie in that Saints Browns game because it would have been the funniest thing to see it 0-2.
I don't know. There's something weird about it. Like, there shouldn't be ties in sports because soccer's not a sport. And okay, but
Agreed.
Amen, Reverend.
but there shouldn't be ties in real sports. But for some weird reason, I just had to say I was kind of shooting for, as good as the game was and as entertaining as it was, I was like, please tie. Just do
Especially
it.
at a game this huge. Like,
Yeah.
this is two really good teams facing each other, and it ended the way it should have ended, at a tie.
The two Goliaths of the NFC North. Yeah. They tied.
All right, so I have a question for you guys. Huge hype. Everyone's pegging him as a top 10 running back all offseason. Dalvin Cook. What do you think? I mean, through 2 games this year,
I've
been less than impressive.
I think it's exactly what Barker called. It's going to be a little bit of a slow start for him, and about week 4, week 5, the dude's going to take off. I'm not scared. Barker said,
I'm not scared either. I actually think he looks pretty solid for coming off an ACL.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to the usage. He's getting 10 carries a game.
But he's getting the
almost-
targets.
And
he's getting 50 to 55 receiving yards.
And he's fantasy relevant because of doing a little bit of everything. But 10 carries, I mean, it's not like he's averaging 2 yards a carry. He's doing okay with what he gets. He's not, the explosion's not quite there, and the volume's not quite there.
Yeah, I'll echo what Barker predicted. If the Dalvin Cook guy in your league is looking to buy, if he's scared, go buy low. Go buy low now.
Yeah.
Pick him up. He's going to take off week 4 or week 5, and you'll have a top 10 caliber running back. Might not finish in the top 10 due to the slow start, but you'll have a top 10 production on the way out the door in 2018.
Right. He's no Matt Breida yet, but he will be.
No Matt Breida.
Not yet. Packers looked okay receiving wise. Allison still put up decent fantasy points. Devontae Adams put up he had a touchdown, so that helps. Vikings, Diggs and Thielen are absolutely balling through the first 2 games of
I remember
the
us talking like, man, who's going to get the ball? Who's going to get all the targets? Literally the
Thielen's-
exact same amount of targets.
Yeah, Thielen's still getting the targets. Thielen's still the safe guy, and Diggs is that big play threat. Just like Nitt said a week or 2 ago.
This is it's the perfect kind of example of how it's going to go. Adam Thielen's going to be the super efficient, catch everything, throw his way. He had 12 receptions on 13 targets. Diggs is going to be your big play threat with a little ball control sprinkled in. He's going to have his drops, but Thielen's going to feast on receptions. Diggs is going to get in the end zone about 4 times more than Thielen this year.
Yeah, and it's going to come close to evening out, but Thielen's probably going to, at this pace, Thielen's going to finish a little higher than Diggs, but they're both very
that's I mean,
worthy
in a
of being in your
PPR
lineup.
league, your difference is the route that he's running.
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at. I mean, Diggs had a 75-yard touchdown. Thielen's long was 25.
How about the concentration with Thielen on that touchdown catch, though, in that game where the ball split 2 defenders, dropped right into his basket? I mean, you could see him stop and actually concentrate on the ball. And like, he wasn't worried about what happened. He wasn't worried about the guy on his left and right. He stopped at the 1 yard line and watched the ball fall into his. It was beautiful.
It reminded me of a sideline catch, going to the sideline when you let your
Except
legs.
you're draped with 2 defenders.
Exactly.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was an excellent catch, and you'll see those week in, week out. Kirk Cousins balling too. I mean, anytime you have 2 receivers go 30+ points, that quarterback had a good day
And
too.
it's kind of crazy because he made some really bad throws.
He's going to take his risk. The thing is, when he takes risks, they're usually fairly calculated. I mean, and that's the one thing I'll say about Kirk Cousins is he's to me, he's got a little gunslinger in him whenever he has to be, but he is also a game manager at the same time. I am a Kirk Cousins fan. I think he's showing out. He's not going to keep a pace like this, 35 completions, 425 yards, but he's a threat to go over 300 yards with that receiving core week in, week out. So
Speaking of this matchup with Aaron Rodgers in the game, good to see him. He doesn't put up ridiculous numbers or anything. Funny statistic we saw on Twitter, and I didn't look it up to see if it's true. Eli Manning has 85 interceptions since 2012, leading the league. Aaron Rodgers has 78 ever. 78 ever interceptions. I'm like, wait, what? What? But Eli does have 2 rings.
True. He looks bad. It's time to pull the plug on Eli if it's me.
Is that the game we're going to next?
It wasn't my plan, but we'll jump down to that and come back up. Eli, it's time. It's time to move on. I don't think it's. I'm not saying you put Kyle Lauletta in because I don't think you get any better by doing that. But man, if there was a guy that could be traded for, if maybe Jameis Winston went on the block, if maybe, I don't know. It's just time. Eli. That team is way too talented for Eli to suck it down in the ground. He holds the ball too long, takes too many sacks. He's done. He's toast.
As beautiful as I said it was or as beautiful as it seems that they drafted Saquon right there, I think Giants fans will be a lot happier with Sam Darnold.
I have to agree, and that was not my opinion in April. I thought this was the right move. And it may still be if they can figure out the quarterback position, but right now it does look kind of silly to have passed on Darnold.
Here's the craziest thing from that game, stat-wise. Not that Eli had 33 completions, but that 14 of them went to Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Which 14 of them went short. The only way he can release the ball quickly is if he throws it to his outlet.
Just like that Chris Thompson Redskins game, whenever you're dumping the ball down to your running back every single play, once every 3 downs, you're not going to sustain drives. You're not going to score points. And frankly, that was pathetic. We'll just say it. That was pathetic out of Eli.
But, hey, one thing, all the people who overpaid and said that Saquon was worth Todd Gurley money and Saquon was worth Le'Veon Bell type prices.
The team around him is not, the line's not good enough.
You're looking crazy right now because I think Saquon will be fine over the next 14 games even. He'll probably only get better, but man, it's a little bit scary to see what his outlook is based on the price you paid for him.
I mean, 25 points isn't anything to joke about. He's just missing a touchdown to be an elite running back production this week. But frankly, it's going to be tough for him to get in the end zone if he doesn't create it by himself.
I was going to say, the 14 receptions is fluky for a running back.
A little bit.
So
it's
a lot of it, yeah.
It's because of Eli.
Yeah,
it's because it's ridiculous.
But he has 11 carries for 28 yards. You're like, that's not why you were drafted right there, Saquon.
No.
Yeah.
Ogletree had a good game. Janoris Jenkins, Landon Collins, did all right. Nothing spectacular. On the other side, though, Jalen Smith with 10 tackles. It was nice to see him come up, pretty decent. And we saw a little Leighton Vander Esch sighting.
We're seeing the takeover from Sean Lee. Sean Lee's not really doing that much, and Jalen Smith is definitely going. Yeah,
Sean Lee got hurt a little bit and had to come off the field. He did, yeah.
But what do we say? Vander Esch is a very Sean Lee-like player.
I think they can. I hate to write a guy like Sean Lee off as hard as he plays. And
I know.
Great veteran,
consummate
all
pro.
that, but. Leighton Vander Esch is just a better linebacker at this point, way more healthy, and we're talking about a guy who just entered his first NFL game. I mean, you could tell he's a good cerebral football player. So.
Yep. And this was another snoozer, just like last week. Let's use that to update our big bet of the year. So we've got Derek Carr leading Dak Prescott by roughly 4 points in the battle for fantasy supremacy.
But I'm actually winning the bet right now.
You are?
Thank you.
How?
No. How?
Because our bet, me and you, Barker, because you said Carr would finish 5 spots higher.
Yeah. Currently,
I'm winning the bet
currently,
right now.
but as long as Carr keeps putting up that 1 point better per game,
that's going to gap him out.
I'm confident at the end of the season it'll be that 5 spots.
Don't believe it. I do not believe it.
It's 3 spots difference right now.
Right now, it's 3 spots.
And let's just realize Josh Allen has only played 1 game.
Yeah. He's going to jump Dak Prescott
so he's
here.
Going to jump Dak
next week. He jumps Dak Prescott, and he widens the gap between Carr and Prescott. They're both going to finish in the late 20s, obviously, but it's a great bet to watch. It's exciting. It's the most exciting thing about the Cowboys.
They're a good football team, to be quite honest with you. You
good
got
defense.
Zeke.
Good defense, honestly.
That keeps you in a lot of games.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys were confident in their defense coming in. That they were confident in Ezekiel Elliott, and they're confident that Dak can distribute the ball just enough. I'm not going to take your bait.
There was 160 yards passing for the Cowboys.
You're darn straight there was. And there was 45 yards rushing.
And all of them were Dak Prescott, weren't they? All those passing yards.
Every single one of those yards were accumulated by
But I mean, more than anything,
Arms they won.
Cowboys are devoid of a receiver. Sign somebody. Call Dez back.
I can't help but wonder if they were in on the Gordon thing at all. I don't think they were, but
I mean, do you trade a problem for a problem? No.
I don't know. I'd bring Dez back at this point. If
No,
I'm
I'm
the
saying
Cowboys.
Dez for
bad.
Gordon, a problem for a problem.
No, that's what I mean. I'd bring either one of them back at this point.
Yeah,
like,
it's-
Dez, we're sorry. Can you come finish your career in Dallas? Because, Deontay Thompson's our top option right now.
But I'll tell you, to me, all Cowboys receivers are droppable.
Yes, I agree. Except for Gallup. You don't want to drop him in dynasty leagues. You put him on. Are you saying you drop him in
not in
okay,
Dynasty
okay.
League. I dropped him in
Okay.
a redraft.
Hopefully you put him on your taxi.
Hey, real quick, Dak's missing. The Cowboys are missing a tight end. Tight end didn't have a catch. Didn't have a target.
Oh, yeah, they definitely need a tight end.
Yeah, they need a tight end real bad. Actually, they did have one target. Gathers got one in the end zone. And that was it. So
Panthers, Falcons, Ridley finally did some good. So, I mean, he looks like he could pan out as a bye-week play, but Ridley actually looked pretty good. Tevin Coleman is
Called that.
trying to make sure Devontae Freeman comes into a full-time share when he returns.
which would be a good thing.
Yeah, it
Because
absolutely would be.
I don't think Devonta Freeman's that elite of a running back. He had a great year under Shanahan.
He
got
obviously
paid.
can't hold up to a full workload anymore, and he's still young, so maybe it's just nicky knack injuries a bit.
By the way,
it's time to spell him more.
Talk about Ridley. We almost exactly called his line, but just for week one.
Right. We were just a week off.
It was like 5 to 7 receptions for 67 yards and maybe a touchdown.
Yeah, we're just a little off
we
the
were a
mark
week
as
off.
far as when that was going to happen.
Yeah, my bad.
And Devin Funchess is relevant again since Olsen's out. He didn't have a terrible game, and DJ Moore finally got on the board, scored a touchdown on his first target of the season.
Bang.
Christian McCaffrey, a good rushing day. So that's what we were looking for out of him.
37 yards? You mean a good fantasy day? He had 102 receiving
4.5 per carry.
That's all. Me and Barker's
Yeah,
on this. We
we're
just
on
need to be around 50 yards of rushing.
Anytime he's close, it's a good Christian McCaffrey day.
It is. They're mixing him in.
And he
I
put
feel
up a
like
very
you guys
sick-
are watering down what quality looks like.
Oh, well, the NFL is going to do that to us because every back's getting 10 carries. So Christian McCaffrey's getting as many carries as anyone else in the
putting
league.
up a very Saquon Barkley-like day.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. 14 receptions for Christian McCaffrey.
That's so bad.
He did hit the century mark.
So it's just insane to see that running backs are leading their team by a wide margin in receptions.
3 different players now: Chris Thompson, Saquon, and Christian McCaffrey all led their teams, almost doubled. McCaffrey did double the receptions of the number 2 guy. It's insane.
It is. But
Extended handoffs.
if somebody's going to trade me McCaffrey, he right now he's in my top 5 right now. As far as running backs go, he's a top 5 running back to me.
Kicking over to the other side of the ball, or other team here, Atlanta, Julio. I mean, in a PPR league he does all right, but in a non-PPR league, a little bit of a letdown based on what you saw last week. But that's probably a result of him dragging their offense down the field last week. So I mean, you're going to. We've said this before. He'll finish the 1,400 some yards.
He's safe. He's safe every week. I mean, if you are 5 for 64 is safe. It's not spectacular. It's not great. It's safe.
Austin Hooper also having a career day with 59 yards and a touchdown. Chad likes to see
The
that.
breakout's coming, as Chad said.
Dude, he's
That's
the
a good game.
He's the red zone threat.
That's a good game.
It's Austin Hooper in the red zone or Matt Ryan on a quarterback sneak, apparently, because he had 2 touchdowns rushing. You just don't get that out of him.
Taking nothing away from him. I mean, that's a good game for Hooper.
I'll take Hooper all day. 5. Give me 5 and 50, maybe a touchdown at every 3 games or something. Nothing wild to ask for out of him.
For the sake of moving on, unless you have anything else to add about any
Just
of the players
Duke
there.
Riley, Devondre Campbell. Look for them for your replacement for Deion Jones.
Because Devondre Campbell looked real good at linebacker. Very athletic. Got to the football game long. Again, he's going to get his. He's going to be playing in the pass game eventually. But yeah, perfect replacement. Hit the nail on the head there, Arms.
The Titans pulled a win off over the Texans, behind the arm of the best quarterback currently on the team, Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
One for 66 and a touchdown. If they just leave him in and make the switch, I think the Titans could be a playoff team this year, but only with Kevin Byard at the quarterback position.
He nearly led them in completion yardage.
In passing yards.
In passing yardage.
He did. He was
close.
He was very close. Blaine Gabbert only beat him by a paltry 51 yards.
Yeah.
So
I've got Corey Davis in a league that I have him starting. I have Tywan Taylor on the bench, and I'm like, I seen a passing touchdown. I'm like, yes, yeah. It just came as an update, and I'm like, Cruikshank? What? Who?
dang.
And then I seen it was Byard. I'm like, you're drunk, ESPN. Go home. You're writing this wrong. No, they were right.
No, I thought the same thing. I was, watching Red Zone, refreshing my, feed on my favorite app to watch. And, it said Kevin Byard 1 for 166 and a touchdown. I'm like, wait a minute.
He does not play quarterback. Was that one interception? Was that
Did he return it?
a reception?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Luckily for my fantasy team, he threw a touchdown.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Lucky for my fantasy team, Derrick Henry completed a pass as a quarterback because the dude doesn't do anything on the ground.
Yeah, so basically the Titans, they said they were going to play 2 quarterbacks, Mariota and Gabbert. They actually ended up playing 3, and none of them were Marcus Mariota.
So they upgraded.
They did. Hopefully next week, Adoree Jackson gets in on the action and gets a couple pass attempts, as well as Kenny Vaccaro. I would like to see it happen, but only time will tell. But the Titans found a way to pull it out, and I think you could say that defense was the reason. Kevin Byard also had 7 tackles, and Adoree Jackson's been a revelation. He was good last year. He's been a revelation at cornerback for this team.
Shutdown corner, the new shutdown corner in the league. Ain't versatile, man. Just versatile all over the field. He's not scared of anyone. He's actually a little undersized. We're seeing these big 6'1" corners. Adoree's just like, man, I'm faster than you. I know where you're going. Knock everything down.
And listen, I hate to do this, but normally I don't get too excited about cornerbacks in fantasy, but I was in a pinch week 1, and Marcus May was out. I had no third starting defensive back because we start 3, and I got an offer for Adoree Jackson for like a third, so I shipped the third out because I had to, and Adoree Jackson's helped me win 2 games.
Nice.
He might even catch a few passes
Big
this
fan
year, to
of
be
him
quiet.
He might throw some touchdowns.
For the Titans, who knows?
He might
punt.
throw some touchdowns.
So Nook gets on track this week with 110 yards on 6 receptions and a touchdown. Fuller ended up breaking the century mark with another touchdown. Good to see the Houston passing attack be a little bit more relevant than last week. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely good to see that passing game get back on track. I think Deshaun Watson's going to be fine for the rest of the year.
He looked better.
Yeah, he didn't have 3-4 months of being planned, or 6 months really being planned for to just stop him by Bill Belichick. So as the year goes on and he is playing in the AFC South, I mean he's going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about him.
No, Will Fuller arms. Will Fuller came back and did Will Fuller things. Caught a touchdown. That's all he does is catch touchdowns. If he could stay healthy, this is a great time to grab him.
I mean, we've seen this with him before last year. Deshaun Watson loves Will Fuller.
He loves him.
He likes to it's like his. I have arguably the best receiver in football, but I'm going to look at Will Fuller first.
And it helps DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. I mean, he helps DeAndre Hopkins because he takes pressure off of him. I mean, we saw it. He had a better game this week because Will Fuller was there to keep defenses honest. But I'm a big Will Fuller fan if he can stay healthy. That's been the question his whole career so far.
On the defense side of the ball, Cunningham having a good game. Watt having a good game. One name to look for that wasn't all the way at the top of the stat sheet, Justin Reed comes away with 5 tackles. Guys, he's coming on. Justin Reed will get better as the year goes on.
Yeah.
Snatch him up now.
That's one of Nit's guys, too. Nit, do you want to talk about oh, wait, he left.
Yeah, Nittle's gone.
He bailed on us.
But, as he moves into, that more of a full-time role, I mean, he was the premier defensive back, premier safety anyway, as far as in this game making plays. I mean, Justin Reed's a guy you need to keep an eye out for the fantasy production and IDP side.
Absolutely. And sorry if we had a little static. We discovered we had a bad cord. It's now been fixed. Shouldn't be a problem in the future. Yeah, Cardinals, Rams, we got a
fixed
shutout.
it by kicking Niddle off the show.
Yeah, as soon as Niddle left, I'm like, unplug your mic. I have a feeling we got a bad cord there. So, but the Rams, Cardinals, Gurley, Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks looked outstanding in that offense. Jared Goff looked good.
The Cardinals GM has more points on his license than they have on the scoreboard.
Man, it's I think you would agree with me, Arms. Time for a quarterback change in Arizona.
I didn't want Sam Bradford to start to begin with. I've said it.
But he did, and he started 2 games, and I think just like it's time for Eli to be done, it's time for Sam Bradford to be done.
I think Eli can bounce back, but I don't think Sam can.
I don't think Eli can. But I also don't think Sam can.
We're not, we'll get away from that game. The Rams literally just dominated this thing from the rip.
Yep. And they did not let off the gas, which I like to see, because when you let off the gas, teams come back.
Well, I mean, there's a reason Malcolm Brown led the Rams in rushing this week. 46 yards, because as we were talking earlier, you need to have, in the second half, when you're dominating, you need to have a running back, that number 2 running back who can finish out the game for you, grind it away for you. We said it, fire up your Rams, and it worked. You've got 6 receptions for Cooper Kupp for 63 yards, and that was the worst performance out of those Rams receivers. Woods had 81 on 6, and Cooks had 159 on 7. Guys, to me, that just tells me how much better Brandon Cooks is than a Sammy Watkins, because he's playing the same role. All right, Cooks he's getting open, getting downfield, and making the plays.
He is. And I mean, Robert Woods, he had a pretty decent game. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell week to week who the receiver to own is going to be on this team. But if it's me, I'm going to go with the safest play, and the safest play is Cooper Kupp. He gets red zone looks. He gets looks in the middle. To me, he's the safest. Now, boom bust, if you're trying to come back from a deficit, it is Cooks. I mean, Cooks has speed. Cooks has playmaking ability. It's fun to watch right now. The Rams are fun to watch. It's the greatest show on turf again.
The thing about it is, I mean, target-wise, I think Cooks is going to beat him. But Cooper Kupp's catching like 100% of everything thrown to him. 6 for 6 this game. I hate to be that guy, because I've never really liked those small deep threat type receivers, but I think I'm going to take Cooks over Kupp right now. I mean, that's just one man's opinion, but if it's me, I've upgraded Cooks to the number 1.
You're definitely not wrong
in that offense.
Definitely not wrong. It's pick your poison between those two. Either one's a great choice to start week in, week out.
Whenever you throw for 90 yards,
woo,
it's safe to say nobody did anything. So we can just go ahead and say the entire Arizona offense is trash, right? When you're playing,
at least with Sam Bradford.
Yeah, when you're playing against with someone as bad as Sam Bradford against a team as good as the Rams, you got to look to the defensive side of the ball to get your production. Buddha had a decent game. Amanda Bynes' brother Josh had a decent game. Antoine Bethea had a decent game. Patrick Peterson, as I've said before, I don't
beautiful interception.
Yeah, I don't usually condone the cornerback starting, especially a shutdown guy like Patrick Peterson. But what that tells me is Jared Goff's like, I don't care who's on the other side. No. I'll throw an interception if I need to. It's not that big of a deal. We're up by 30. Yeah. I mean, play your Rams going forward. I mean, play your defensive players for Arizona. John Johnson, Niddle's boy, had a good game as well.
He did. And unfortunately, Hassan Reddick did nothing in the game, which is getting a little worrisome for IDP purposes if you're holding on to Reddick. But Amanda Bynes' brother, getting it done if you have him too. Moving on to the next game, another good one, Lions and the Niners. Stafford came back to being close to normal Matt Stafford. Jimmy Garoppolo was what people were hoping that he would be in this game.
This is something I want to complain about.
Uh-oh.
If you have a player who averages like 32 yards a reception, and he caught 2 in week 1, and he caught 1 in week 2, targeting more than twice,
just depends. You're talking about Pettis, right?
Yes.
I mean, we some teams have deep ball threats that aren't always, doesn't mean he's open every time.
He's not just a deep ball threat. The guy can run routes. He's a really good route runner. I don't know about great, but he's a really good route runner. I mean, just target him. All I'm asking, target him more than twice. You know, he's a little bit, to me, he's an upgrade over a Pierre Garçon talent-wise. Just try to get the freaking ball to him. That's all. That's it. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Fred Warner put up another 10 total tackle game. He is squarely on the radar. DeForest Buckner again arms with a sack and 5 tackles.
Same way I talk about cornerbacks, I talk about defensive tackles. I normally don't condone starting a defensive tackle, but DeForest Buckner, he's the real deal.
Different story, yeah.
Yeah, he's constantly getting pressure on the quarterback. He's great in run support. I mean, DeForest Buckner is, for fantasy purposes, probably the best defensive tackle in football.
Kenny Galladay's here to stay. If you've got him on your roster and you've been waiting for this moment, you can start him week in, week out. If you don't, then you have one heck of a team, and congratulations on that. Golden Tate still got his. Marvin Jones actually still got his as well. Again, this is not a tight end friendly offense. This is kind of like the Rams. They don't use the tight end hardly at all, even though Michael Roberts caught a touchdown. Doesn't matter. He caught one ball, just like Luke Wilson caught one ball. Tate, Galladay, Marvin Jones, you can play any of those guys. Kerryon Johnson looked pretty good. LeGarrette Blount even looked pretty good.
I'm buying all of the Kerryon Johnson I can get right now.
I am too. He looked good. He's the best running back on that team easily.
And he caught 5 balls for 23 yards. I mean, impressive yardage, no. But, you know, they targeted him 5 times, which means if he can start actually putting up some production in the passing game and be as decent, we'll say, as decent as he is on the ground, he could become a 3-down back in Detroit.
And he should become a 3-down back in Detroit. It is time for the Lions to add that element to their team. I mean, it's been so long since they gave a running back a decent chance at carries. And carry on, my wayward son. It's time. It's time.
No doubt about it.
Now, Matt Breida, let's talk about him real quick, because he's going to be one of the hottest buys in fantasy this week if you can get him. Chances are he's not on your waivers. But we're talking 11 carries for 138 yards, a 12.5 per touch clip. And that is not all from one carry.
66 of it is, though.
66 of it is, but on 10 carries, on 10 carries,
he was still averaging
70-some yards.
Yeah, I was going to say, averaging 5 or 6 plus yards a carry. I mean, that's yeah.
He was running with a chip on his shoulder, for sure. He looked great. And Matt Breida looked good last year when nobody even heard of him. That's another one of those Niddle stashes. Niddle has Philip Lindsay on his team. Niddle loves picking these small, guys that are undrafted or drafted really late that he loves. Philip Lindsay's one of those guys this year. Last year for Nid, it was Matt Breida. He held on to Matt Breida all year, saying this guy's better than his draft position, which I don't think he was drafted. But
so here's what I'm going to ask you. Let's say that you've got a $100 free agency budget. All right. Is Matt Breida in that realm that a Kareem Hunt was last year?
Yep.
For the cost?
It has to be.
I think I agree with you, and here's why I'm going to say this. How many players this early in the season break out like this?
Yeah, exactly. And you have to take your shots on running backs. Like, running backs are thin no matter what size your league is. Even a 10-teamer, running backs are thin.
So let's say
you have to take your shot.
You got a $100 free agency budget. How much is Matt Breida worth?
I'm spending half of it at least.
Okay. Now, I tend to agree with you. Here's my thought process on it. You're not getting another breakout later in the year. Odds are, if you're even looking, you need a Matt Breida. You need him because, you ended up with a Devonta Freeman or, somebody who's letting you down. I'll say, like AP, he hurt you this week. If you can spend the money and get a Matt Breida, Breida's, to me, probably going to be a start all year. I don't expect 140 yards every game, but let's also realize something. Alfred Morris, 14 carries for 48 yards. So let's take away 7 of those. 7 carries.
Yes, let's please.
And give those to Matt Breida. And give Breida an average of 75 yards a game on the ground. Catch a couple passes. Breida becomes a touchdown here and there, 100 yards a game, a touchdown here and there, and that's good enough for RB1 production right there.
Yeah, it is definitely RB1 production, especially considering what we talked about earlier, and the majority of the backs in this league getting 10 carries, at the most 12. That's not all. It's a generalization. But, I mean, if you've got a Matt Breida that's getting 10 to 12, he's a high priority and a big commodity to own. So if you have him on your waivers and you can spend half your money to get him, I do it all day long. Let's break your heart a little bit, Arms.
Kittle down the middle. Kittle shut down in the middle.
Kittle was shut down in the middle, but that's not exactly the heartbreak I was talking about.
Oh, we're talking about the Raiders?
We are. Do you need... Come here.
You know, you can talk about it.
Come here.
I'm just going to go to the other room and cry.
Just lay your head on Daddy.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Lay your head on Daddy.
I don't want to talk about it.
Come on, lay your head on Daddy, Arms. It's okay. Derek Carr didn't look that bad in this
Neither
game.
did Amari Cooper.
No.
Dude finally learned how to catch a football.
Yeah, he figured it out. He's like, wait a second. I'm a high
He was like
draft pick.
He was like Jared Cook. Hold on a second. Wait, come here, bro. Come here. That's how you do that? That's how you do that. Huh.
Jared Cook must have pulled him aside this week at practice, been like, okay, so you take your hands and you make a bowl out of them. See this bowl? It's like hothead burrito bowl or like a Chipotle bowl. Like, see this bowl?
Amari
Not the kind of bowl that Martavis Bryant's got. This is a different bowl.
Amari
Different
Cooper's
bowl.
like, I've been just holding my thumbs down. I put them up and try to catch it and wrap them. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
He's like, before, Jared, I didn't know what to do with my hands. What?
Michael Crabtree wouldn't teach me anything.
Gosh.
Thanks, Jared.
Gosh.
Thanks, Jared. But no, 10 for 10 for 116 yards. Now,
About time.
Amari Cooper, whenever you have the ball in his hand, he's a very talented guy. You expect more than 116 yards, but you know what? I will freaking take it. I will take it all day. Good job, Amari Cooper. A huge letdown from Jared Cook, and the Raiders lost.
Yeah, but it was a good game. It's better than what we saw out of the first game, and this is a good Broncos defense still. So.
Nobody is going to. The Rams could go undefeated this year.
They could.
I'm not saying they're going to, but the Rams are good, and if you're a below average team in the league, the Rams are going to eat your soul.
Yes.
So I'm not even upset about the massacre that occurred at the hands of the Rams. This one hurts. This one hurts a little bit.
That one does hurt, especially the Broncos going 2-0 in the division with the Raiders. That makes it a little more painful. I guess if there's silver linings, you got Cooper. Carr had a decent game, and Marshawn Lynch actually got 18 carries and did what Marshawn Lynch does, and he got into the end zone.
Yeah. Beast mode. I mean, Marshawn, I still don't like him as a consistent play.
No, but if you give him the carries, you can get enough out of him if you give him the carries.
I don't understand why you don't play Jalen Richard really.
No.
At least target him.
Even
on
DeAndre
third
Washington
down.
has shown flashes before.
I mean, I'm just saying on third down. Like how is Richard not even targeted on third down? That's mind blowing to me. I mean, from what he did last week. And this week you're like, no, we just don't think we're going to even target him one time.
I mean, Amari Cooper did actually play good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that had something
They
to do
also
with
had the lead the whole game. Literally, I think that they at no point during actual regulation time did the Broncos win, because didn't they kick the field goal as time expired?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I mean, as the clock struck 0, then the ball goes in, the game's over. I mean, it is what it is.
Which brings us to them. So Case Keenum didn't exactly have a great game. Didn't play well enough to actually win the game. But Philip Lindsay, its favorite person on the planet right now, 14 carries, 107 yards, 7.6. Me and Nit were having this conversation as Arms as well, that Philip Lindsay is very Matt Breida-like. And this is kind of where the league is going. You don't have to have that bell cow back that we thought Royce Freeman was going to be, and still could be for all we know. You can have a Philip Lindsay or a Matt Breida or an Austin Eckler and win games with those guys.
Absolutely.
And Philip Lindsay is proving that right now.
Absolutely.
If you had him on your roster before week 1, congratulations on being a fantasy football super genius.
So I'm not a huge DFS guy, but I was dabbling in a little DFS this week, and I don't play DraftKings. I just never have. I've never played FanDuel a lot, but I've been playing in Yahoo leagues just to dip my toe into the pool, so to speak. And like I've done it before, but I'm like, I'm going to get more into it. And I got to looking, and like the Corey Clements of the world, the Austin Ecklers of the world, the Philip Lindsays of the world. These guys are dirt cheap.
Yeah, they're the way to go. DraftKings hasn't caught up to the system yet.
Yes. Spend money on your stud receivers, because guess what? The most expensive receiver you're going to have going forward probably is Mike Thomas. Rightfully so, because he's the best receiver in football. Okay?
Ooh, right now he is.
Am I wrong?
No, not right now.
I was going to say, make an argument and tell me how I'm wrong.
No, I'm not.
Right.
It's just it's a surprising statement right now because it's true.
Yeah. So spend the money on him and whoever you consider the number 2, whether it's AB or Nook or someone else. Spend the money there and go cheap on your running backs, and you can even go cheap on your flex. So if you spent high on basically 3 receivers or 2 receivers and a tight end, right? If you went all out and you could get a Corey Clement and an Austin Eckler and a Philip Lindsay for next to nothing, you just won fantasy that week.
Absolutely. But as far as other fantasy goes, Emmanuel Sanders was the only Bronco outside of Philip Lindsay that really gave you anything good. Justin Simmons on the defensive side, if you've got him on your team, he's kind of proving that he is the truth as far as tackles go there. And Von Miller is one of the best linebackers in IDP football right now. Even though he's not a tackle guy, he's a sack guy. He's getting it done on that side of the ball for you if you own him. Raiders side,
Von Miller would be one of those guys that you would be having the conversation of defensive MVP. If he continued what he did the rest of the year, and Mac continued what he did the rest of the year, if Mac didn't exist, Von Miller's probably the defensive MVP. But Mac's just having an otherworldly season right now.
Yeah, and Von Miller's capable. So these are 2 guys to watch. It looks like both of them are on fire. So I'm watching both of these guys every opportunity I get this
Absolutely.
year. But Raiders defense, really nothing to talk about. Tahir Whitehead was the tackle leader, which is what we expect, but it was nothing fantastic. Arms, I don't know about you, but I want to talk about Patriots and the Jags.
Let's go.
Let's go. Blake Bortles.
Shoot.
Is one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy right now. And
He finished last season as one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy. We kept going over that. It's like, is this real? I want to say he was like a top 10 in the last 8 weeks. So he's carried this. He's carried this over with, you can't trust a receiver that he's got. Who are you going to throw? Who do you trust to roll out there every week? So maybe I would like to have Keelan Cole. I'd like to have Dede Westbrook, but I'm not ready to start him yet.
I'm starting Keelan Cole. I believe.
I'm probably going to have to in one of my redraft leagues. But to me, I'm just looking out there like, who am I going to pick up that I'm comfortable with? And I mean, Keelan Cole's probably one of the best in a redraft league, one of the best waiver wire pickups out there.
Indeed. Now, since you talked about Bortles finishing the year on fire last year, kind of on fire, fantasy on fire, not exactly real life on fire, but he finished as a top 13 quarterback. He was number 13. Does he break top 10 this year? Total year, all year, is Blake Bortles a top 10 quarterback?
I don't see why he wouldn't be. I mean, right now it just seems like there's some guys that are just falling off of a cliff, and some guys who expected to be kind of the new ascension are going away. So it's a couple of things to look at, and I think Ryan Fitzpatrick should remain the starting quarterback if he continues to play this way.
Agreed.
But let's just be realistic and say that he has a stinker 2 games. They pull him for Jameis Winston. So Jameis Winston is not going to outdo what Blake Bortles does, and Fitzpatrick's not going to outdo what Blake Bortles does on the year. So get both of those guys out of there. That moves him up a couple rungs. Then Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't done what we expect Jimmy Garoppolo to do. So he goes down a couple rungs. You've got an Eli Manning who has been just atrocious, who's usually normally around that 10 to 15 range, total fantasy production. Get him out of there. So, yeah, Blake Bortles, I don't know if I can say it out loud. I'll just agree with you, maybe. Maybe he's kicking on the door of being above 11. I just don't know if I can say that he's that.
I know. It is tough because it is Blake Bortles' shoot. But as far as Tom Brady, is it possible? Like, I know he's playing well. He's not playing great. Is it possible that we just get a Tom Brady this season?
Tom Brady said he would retire whenever he sucks 3 years ago, I believe.
Yeah. Now he got a new weapon. Josh Gordon
Yeah.
is his new weapon. Josh Gordon.
Which, by
to
the way,
the Pates.
we were still right. If he played for the Browns, he's a startable guy. He was probably, I mean, Landry's good, but physical talent wise, Gordon's a little bit better. Bigger, stronger guy. Gets up for the ball a little bit better. He was the right play, and then the Browns let him walk on suspicions that he quote unquote wasn't himself. They suspected him to possibly have been high. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. And supposedly he hurt his hamstring in a photo shoot unrelated to football. I'm guessing I figured it's for High Times Magazine.
Oh, okay. I thought it was porn.
Anyhow, he just moves in as the most physically dominant wide receiver target that Tom Brady has.
Can he grasp the system? Because we've seen wide receivers come in from other teams or come in as free agents and it not work out. But we've seen the opposite as well. So, I mean, in your opinion, does Josh Gordon live up to his expectations in New England?
Josh Gordon is still in his physical prime. I don't think that they're going to put him on amazingly complex routes. I don't think they're going to, pull the Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola type plays and say, hey, get out there and get open. So I think they're going to have, here's a post, here's a drag. Those are a simple route tree for him to get him acclimated, and you still have to account for every receiver on the field whenever Tom Brady has the football because he distributes it so well. So I think that even if they simplified his side of the playbook, he'll be fine.
We'll see. I'm excited to see exactly what happens with Josh Gordon there. I've got a bad feeling about it all, but that's just me being me, worrisome me with players like Gordon and Martavis. But let's get to the chase here. The Jags beat the Patriots rather handily.
Beat the brakes off the Patriots.
Rather handily, yeah. The game was not as close as the score.
Yeah.
The Patriots had a cut 10 points in the fourth quarter to make it look like, somewhat of a game. But it really wasn't. It really wasn't. I mean, Keelan Cole, 7 receptions, 116 yards and a touchdown. Dede Westbrook was pushing for 100 and had a touchdown. Moncrief got a touchdown. Austin Seferian-Jenkins caught a touchdown, but put up his usual yardage of 23. But Bortles and company, just the defense especially, they handled their business.
So on the Patriots side of the ball, Sony Michel finally gets his opportunity to start. Has 34 rushing yards. Only gets 1 reception, which kind of floored me. I figured he'd get a few more catches out of the backfield.
James White.
I know.
Leading them in receiving again.
I know. But why was he so ineffective? Because Telvin Smith and Miles Jack was in his face. I mean, Ronnie Harrison. What did I say about Ronnie Harrison in the offseason?
If they play him.
Alabama safeties are going to be fantasy relevant.
Yep.
And Ronnie Harrison has 7 solo tackles in this game. I mean, you can just completely... This is a good defense. Down to their nickel back. Their number 5 defensive back is good. Just think about that for a second. That's how good this defense is. Find the hole, and we'll talk about it. You know what I mean?
They should be in contention again to make it to the big game.
Absolutely. I mean, Fowler was in Brady's face. I mean, Naku was in Brady's face. Didn't get a sack, but we're talking about Brady gets hit 4 times, and that's not counting times that they're just swiping a hand in front of his face and he's throwing it wide, throwing it long. This is a good Jaguars defense, and it would shock me if they don't make it around into the playoffs.
Let's end it on the last night's game, Seahawks and Bears. Is Will Dissly now officially not just a fluke? He did score again. He didn't put up anything else impressive, but he scored. He's getting targets. There's really not that many players there that garner targets. I have a cousin named Garner. But Will Dissly, yeah, what do you think? Is it time?
2 weeks in a row, Will Dissly gets 5 targets. Last week, he set the world on fire with the catches he got. This week, he ends up with 42 yards and a touchdown. Had a touchdown last week. the tight end landscape's trash.
It is.
Why
So,
not?
Why not?
I'm not saying cut, George Kittle. I'm not saying cut Travis Kelce or Ertz or something like that.
Yeah, but if you're rolling with a Mike Gesicki or an Antonio Gates, it's time to pick up Will Dissly.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you had Delaney Walker, spend some free agent budget on Will Dissly. Once again, you can't take that money with you. It's not real dough. Just get out there and spend it on a Will Dissly if you need a tight end.
Rashad Penny led the Seahawks in carries. Russell Wilson didn't really have a great game. Tyler Lockett had a solid game if you were starting him. But besides that, Bradley McDougald, the bright spot for the Seahawks.
McDougald moving into that role that Cam Chancellor left behind. I mean, I didn't expect him to be quite this good, but he's putting up Cam Chancellor numbers, probably better. McDougald, a few years ago, playing in a full-time role for the Buccaneers, was an absolute stud. And now that he gets back into a full-time role in Seattle, he's fitting the bill. He's solid. He's a real solid play.
On the other side, Mitchell Trubisky did okay for you, nothing more than that. Jordan Howard killed you. Allen Robinson was solid, and Trey Burton caught a touchdown. So that's these two teams. I think this is what we can expect going forward as far as offense goes for fantasy purposes. I am staying away from most of them. Like there is the one guy at each position for the Bears,
Jordan
Howard and Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
that you can probably count on to be Jordan Howard, if only because the running back landscape is not that great. The players are fine. The carry, the volume. Jordan's going to get the volume more often than not. He's going to do something with it.
Correct.
He didn't this week.
Let's get back to the Bears. I've said it before. That's a scary linebacking core. And somehow, whenever the starter goes out, they just get better. So they give Roquan the run this game. So it's Trevathan with 8 tackles. Roquan with 7. Yeah.
Which Jared Davis, we didn't touch on for the Lions, also 2 sacks.
Yeah.
And second tackles on the team. So good game for him. But yeah.
Roquan just steps in. I mean, just shows up. Really his first play ever was a sack. And now he gets an opportunity to play more of a role. And ends up, passing with flying colors, has a pass defense, around the ball every single time. Trevathan around the ball every single time. The Bears linebacking core is playing with their hair on fire. Khalil Mack, if you don't see what Khalil Mack does is special, you don't understand football, and that's concerning to me for the Raiders.
Kind of disappointed in your boy Kwiatkowski, though. I mean, I think he's officially been passed up.
Well,
Roquan, Trevathan, and Mack are the guys.
I personally thought that Trevathan was going to be the one getting passed up, but you know what? It happened. And Roquan is a transcendent talent at linebacker. He's going to be, barring injury, he's going to be one of the best linebackers to ever play the game.
The best to ever do it. He could be. I mean, he looks great, but sadly, this game... Sadly, not a lot to talk about.
Outside of Danny Trevathan, the Bears have 3 first-round linebackers starting for their team.
Yep. Let's. I said ended on Seahawks Bears, but let's touch on Jets Browns for Thursday since we won't be recording before that game. Do the Browns get their first win, Arms? Is this where it happens? I say yes.
I'm going to say the Jets actually rebound and show that they're an above competent team. I actually think that the Jets, I don't want to say win it handily, but I don't think it's the, oh my God, it's a, Zane Gonzalez field goal going wide right or wide left.
They did cut him, and they brought in a different kicker, of which I've never heard of.
Irrelevant. Unless it's Yohung Koo, which...
Ooh, Yohung.
The dude kicks like 70-yard field goals. It's insane. Just
in practice.
It's better than...
At his high school.
It's still better than what you have with the Browns.
Right.
I'm going to say that the Jets win it by 7 to 10 points. Sam Darnold just going to do what Sam Darnold did the first game and actually, put up a couple touchdowns. One thing to look out for, if I'm going to have a play, a sneaky play, Denzel Ward at cornerback again. Sam Darnold's a rookie quarterback. He'll try to test him, and Ward so far has passed with flying colors against every receiver and every quarterback. So Denzel could come away with a pick or two this game.
I like the Browns in it. I think Jarvis has a big rebound game. He was fired up in the team facility, just giving his wide receivers absolute hell. I think that Jarvis is going to come through for the Browns, score his first multi-touchdown game of the season. I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns in this one. I think the Browns are going to target him heavily. And I think they're going to pull it out. They've been playing well. It's time for that win, and it's time for all those beers to be opened for free in Cleveland.
Play Terrell Pryor.
Oh, again.
It worked for me this week.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it's going to work again because Pryor's going to have something to prove against his former team. So.
Yep, and I mean at this point, Robbie Anderson, who looks like Felicia off Friday, like he's a rough looking cat. He's just doing nothing. Robbie Anderson's just doing absolutely nothing.
I'm telling you, man, Quincy Enunwa is a good receiver.
Hey, Quincy Enunwa is going to be a PPR solid play for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
but I'm playing if I've got to play and I have to play a jet outside of Enunwa, I'm going to go with Terrell Pryor.
Absolutely. But thanks for joining us, guys. That's our recap for week 2, and we were happy to get Nit a little fired up for you. I'm glad he's gone. Hey, Nit, Lev Bell deserves to be somewhere else.
He just needs cut.
Honestly,
he's just hot, stinky garbage.
Yeah,
I'm
terrible
listeners,
running back.
I'm just playing.
Terrible running back.
I'm just playing, but dude, Nettle gets awful fired up about Le'Veon Bell.
You should see his face when we're sitting here with him. It's like the Antichrist has arrived.
You know what the best part was? Putting him in a bad mood for work today.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to message him because we work at the same place. I'm gonna have to shoot him a little work instant message and be like, "Hey, I still love you, bro."
He's gonna be like, you know what? Just go on a tirade about how Le'Veon Bell is the second coming of Barry Sanders or something.
Oh man!
It's like if you combine Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, and Barry Sanders, you would hope that DNA mixed properly to try to get a Le'Veon Bell.
And then if you mix Kajana Carter with Rashaan Salam, that's what gets you James Conner. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you later. Peace out. Barks out. Hey, it's Bark from the back row, and I have a question for you. Do you want an unfair advantage to dominate your fantasy football league? Well, look no further and download Squad QL, the only mobile app you need to crush your friends and rivals this year. Squad QL recommends the best starting lineup for each week based on your starters, bench players, and free agent pool. You may ask, how does Squad QL actually do this? Well, the app connects directly with your Yahoo, ESPN, and CBS leagues, pulling in your actual roster and your league's scoring system. The app also provides waiver recommendations and player rankings each week, all based on your league's settings. Squad QL truly is your go-to app for this fantasy football season. So head to squadql.com to download Squad QL, your all-in-one fantasy football secretary. And remember, Squad QL is brought to you by the creators of RotoQL, the leading daily fantasy lineup optimizer trusted by over 100,000 DFS players. You can also download RotoQL for free for both Apple and Android. Take it from Bark. This is going to help you win in 2018.
This concludes another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show. Thanks for listening, and be sure to give us a review.